city or a town, a frown. The business of a crown, of the living that abounds, of the church and the announcements. It's doing what counts, the underground sound in a city or a town, a frown. The business of a crown, of the living that abounds, of the church and the announcements. It's doing what counts. The underground sound is the voice within, to give ear to the spirit and to flee from sin, to live for Jesus and the praise of him, by not selling out for the praise of men, to do whatever it takes, no matter what the cost, to keep pushing up the weight, carrying the cross, straight bench pressing sin, defend the word that lacks, and your best mention him, or then you gon' die. Cause the underground sound in a city or a town, the business of a crown, of the living that abounds, of the church and the announcements. It's doing what counts, the underground sound in a city or a town, a frown.
All right. Late night pod. Well, you look good, Scotty. With Scott.
You look skinny. You look like you lost weight. You look good.
Thanks, lad. Hey,
You
sorry
probably-
we've been able to get on the
lose another 2 pounds if you shave the beard off.
I like the beard. I think since you dyed it works for you. All right. So here, let's late night pod. We got two of my favorite people. We got Lad Supernaw, also referred to as Mad Dog, and we got Scotty the Bull Davenport. Okay, me and Lad were just talking about it. We're going to go through this entire card, but it's sick. Let's start out with Pandemic Island. How cool would it be, Scott, to go fight at some remote island that nobody in the world even knows where it's at?
So I know that this is anti the Godfather, like this is the opposite of what the Godfather is about, but like literally this is Enter the fucking Dragon, bro. Sorry about my language. This is Enter the Dragon. Bruce Lee. Remember, they go to an island on a boat and shit like that, and like fight.
I don't know anything about that.
Oh no.
But is that what Tong Po did?
Yes, bro. That is freaking Lad. Do you know about Lad was raised by the Godfather, so he doesn't know. He don't know what I'm talking about. Nobody knows what I'm talking about.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, but it's Gladiators. It's Gladiator with no fans. I mean
it's
okay,
a movie.
so
This is a movie. This is a movie. That's what I'm getting at. This is a movie. Enter the Dragon is the greatest Bruce Lee movie of all time, where they go to this freaking island and like fight to the death. You know what I mean? Like it's freaking epic. But it's a movie. But that's
so here's my take on this. First off, hats off to Dana for getting the Tachi Hill Casino, and Lad says that they do have a hotel there. So the hotel's obviously closed. They've paid Tachi Hill all the money in the world. And from what I understand, they're going to have a month or 2 months of fights there, back to back to back to back to back. All the fights are taking place there. Then they go to Pandemic Island.
Dude, this is epic, man. It's epic what he's doing. Well, what do you guys think? Okay, first, Lad, what do you think is going to happen right now with this pandemic that's going on? What do you think is about to play out over the next month, 6 months, year?
I think people are going to be much more cautious about where they're going, or like no one's really going to be hugging each other for a bit. I think it's going to be gradual. I think like in a month from now, restaurants will open, and then 2 weeks later, gyms will open, and then 2 weeks later, schools will open, and like for months until they get a vaccine, no one's going to be touching or hugging each other. We're just going to be saying hi. And when a vaccine is developed, people will start partying to death.
Well, I tell you what, I don't know enough about this stuff to know if you've, let's say I had it. Let's say I had it a week ago or 2 weeks ago. I understand that there's a lot lower chance that I could get it again, but would any kind of test that they have say, oh, you already had it?
Yes, there is a test like that. And so it's funny because I work at a school. Schools are shut down, right? And I'm sitting here freaking quarantine all day, just like you guys. And I'm going I'm just starting to go crazy, man. Like freaking.
Do you even go outside? I go outside and walk. I get food every day so that I don't go completely stir crazy. Is that what you do?
I did was I went and got a job. I got a job and I'm working out in this little town, in the middle of nowhere, sorta. There's it's like a different time. It's like being in the 1950s, and I'm in Gold Hill, it's called, and I'm pumping gas at a gas station and running a
You're working at a gas station.
Yeah, we're working at a gas station, and I'm pumping gas, and I'm freaking barbecuing brisket and pulled pork, and I'm selling brisket and pulled pork, and yeah, that's what I'm doing, man.
That's space.
I had to do. I just was like, man, what am I going to do? And I would love to do podcasts like this. This is great. I love doing this stuff. And I like to stay busy and keep producing, like we're doing right now, and it's hard. I obviously I work at a school, and they're doing, I don't know if you're doing it, Lad, but my school is implementing virtual classes. So I have to try to call students on Zoom and hold a class, and it's very I hate to be negative, but it's been a disaster,
You're working with special needs kids though too, right?
Yeah.
And their parents though. I mean, their parents are involved, and really my thing was I'm going to deal with the parent. I'm going to talk to the parent. I'm going to check in with the parent. I'm going to, that's what you do, right? If say I was Lad's teacher, right? That, general education student, I'm going to still go to Dad and go, hey, man, what's going on with Lad? Is he freaking running his 4 laps around the track every day? Is he getting his math assignments done? Where's his level at? And just the technology and everything. It's been very difficult.
I wish. So the question is, Lad, and I don't know this. So do you start virtual school this week?
So what we do is I've been doing homework. I've been doing missing assignments or homework that we still have to do. And then next week, we're going to start doing 45-minute virtual classes where I don't know if they talk through a screen and stuff like that.
See?
And fourth quarter officially starts today, next week. So I've been working, getting missing assignments and stuff I need to get done, most of which I've already done. But yeah, that's basically what I've been doing. I did some.
Okay, so you're gonna. All right, so that's cool. I wish. I mean, they do 2 hours a day and call it good. And say, hey, let's worry about this next year. Let's pass everybody through. It's not the end of the world is what we really have to deal with. Not 2 + 2 is 8. Let's take care of your kids. Let's take care of your family. Everybody passes. We'll be back in September. I wish they would do that. I do like it that Lad's going to have something to do in his daytime. Because I've had this cough. I mean, me and Lad would be training an hour and a half, 2 hours a day and having a ball together, but I can't see him because I still have this cough. His mom's working, so he's isolated. I'm isolated from him. It sucks. So I'm actually glad to hear that. Here's what I don't want to. I just hope
you hate school as much as my mom hates Trump.
What's that? I hate school as much as Mom hates Trump?
Yeah.
No, I don't. I don't hate school. I think at this time, it's a time for family. It's a time for community. It's a time for God. That it's not a time that we need to worry about something that isn't the most important thing in the world. Okay. So this is a time that we get together and we do this as a part of brotherhood. Now, yeah, we get it out there and we pod and this, that, and the other, and we learn from each other, and it feels like we're doing something and making a difference, and it's good. But there's so many people out there, lad, that if I was in this situation and I was your age, the only thing I'd be trying to do is get my booze on. Couldn't wrestle, couldn't do track, couldn't do baseball. None of that's going on. I would just, there wasn't any food in the house. I would just be trying to be the irresponsible kid like the kids are now. You're not, but there's a lot of kids that are not isolating at all.
I've seen people at the beginning of this thing, like with their friends and like having a blast together, and I'm like, wow, you guys are not separated at all. Like, I've been washing my hands every time I get something, and which is something I previously almost never did. Where did you go, Dad?
What do you mean? I'm right here.
I can't see you, though. I didn't do anything.
You see me, Scott?
Yeah, I can see you perfect.
Okay, now I can see you.
All right, I'm here, buddy.
So Godfather, do you have the Rona?
Now I can only see Dad.
Do you have the Rona?
No, not at all. You must have caught that late. No, what I was saying was I had finally seen something. I was saying the reason that I'm fearful, other than we're all fearful to a certain degree, the reason that I'm more fearful is because I had whooping cough, and the cough hasn't went away. So my lungs are, they're not. They would be susceptible to this to a certain degree, but I would take my lungs that I've been working on hard for the last, since August, as opposed to my lungs a year ago at 300 pounds not coughing. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I believe I'm in a better physical position to fight this thing. But what I was saying on that FaceTime Live thing is we're not getting information that will help us. One of the things that helped me, and the reason I'm up now at midnight, is because I actually seen a doctor come on with a patient that had basically had the Rona and was doing breathing exercises during it, and it helped her recover faster. And he just broke it down, and he said, as soon as you get the symptoms, do these breathing exercises. And then he said, just do them anyway. Just do the breathing exercises anyway. So your lung capacity, you have more lung capacity, because what kills the people on this is by the time they get to the respirator, they're almost done. They're almost done, which actually makes a lot of sense why they would want you home confining, because they can't really do anything. You're most contagious at this time. Again, I was just wanting to get that information out there that.
Okay, I can see Scott now.
I was just wanting to get that information out there that, hey, rest isn't don't be laying on your back all day. Don't be up, be active, be doing something, be sitting upright. Instead of laying down. I've been spending so much time just laying down, watching TV, thinking, hey, this is good, I'm resting. No, that's not good.
Okay, now I can only see Scott.
Personally, I think it's okay as long as you can hear, lad. It's all good. So
yeah, I can hear both of you.
Personally, I think
going back and forth on me, but
well, obviously, lad, you got something going on over there, buddy.
But it's okay if he can hear. Who cares, right?
Yeah,
I'm not pressing anything. It's
personally, I think Joel. I think, dude, you look like you're in your best shape I've ever seen. I think you look. I like the way you're looking, man. You look like you kind of like leaned all the way out, and then you look like you kind of put some muscle on. And I think that's your best shape right now.
Yeah, I feel real good. I feel real good, and that's why I really try to stay away from the scale. And I feel really healthy. I was just making the point that there's information out there that we should all have aside from how many more the numbers. The numbers don't tell us anything. It's like we're sitting around waiting for something bad to happen, hoping it doesn't happen. So, I that's why I was talking about that. I wanted to talk about what I would love to talk about is you understand, Scott, and you understand Lad as competing in wrestling and competing in baseball and being a competitor, that you spend a lot of time thinking. You spend way more time thinking about your event than you actually do competing in the event.
Yeah, I understand that because I did both baseball and wrestling.
Yeah, and so with all of the different complexities, I was talking to Chael about this today. With all the different complexities that you already have, I believe the biggest fear, because they're when you train for a fight, when you train for a wrestling match, there's a certain amount of fear. Most of that fear isn't I'm going to lose. It isn't in a fight thing, and I think you'll be cognizant and you'll agree. There is a little bit when you're training to fight somebody in a cage that you think, worst case scenario, am I going to get murdered? Okay, that's a real thing. I call them the dark thoughts, and they come in, and you got to get rid of them, and you got to act like they're not there, but they do come in. Okay, but the biggest fear is laying an egg in front of your family and friends.
Oh my gosh.
Is that do you agree with that?
I'm gonna tell you something, lad. This is for lad. I've been fighting, for whatever long, I don't know, forever, and I fought a ton of times, and I've trained with a bunch of dudes that in the gym could whoop my ass, dude. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, there's guys that could kick my ass, and I've talked to them and been like, why don't you fight, man? Why don't you fight? Because I fight all the time, and you're freaking, you're a lighter weight class than me, and you're freaking whooping my ass in the gym. And they'll say, I've had them tell me it's because they cannot overcome exactly what you just said. They cannot deal with that. They cannot face that. They cannot risk that. They won't do it. They will not do it. And there's dudes out there, man, that are freaking bad dudes. There's bad dudes out there, and they just come to the gym, whoop everybody's ass, and that's it. And they never, ever go out and compete and test themselves and see what they're made of or whatever in a real live scenario, because they cannot take that risk to lay an egg, like you just said, in front of people. They can't do it, man. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of guys like that. I'm not joking.
I agree with you too, to a certain degree, but no matter how hard you spar in practice, okay, and I've been a part of some live rounds. I've witnessed some hot rounds. Okay, it's still not. It's as hot as it gets. It's only going to be 80% of the real get down. So, and that 20% is all of it. And that 20% is the mental. That 20% is, especially if you've got fear going in there, I'm going to find that fear. Hopefully one of us is, okay? Because the actual event of fighting, the biggest relief you get, yeah, you love winning, but there's such a relief when it's just over. It just, oh God, it's just over. Oh my God, it just feels so, it's over, and I've talked to a lot of people that's why there's such a relief from these fighters, and they hug each other. It's like they've spent so much time thinking about how's it going to end that it's over. They finally know. Okay. But I wanted to stay on point here. There's 12 fights next weekend.
And to follow up on that before we go into the fights, I think the best guys, I agree with everything you're saying. I think the best guys that can overcome those fears are guys that we know, such as Ricky Simone, Randy Couture, Anthony Smith, people like that.
Well,
Chael sometimes, but even he has struggles with that.
So you said, Joel, you said in the gym, right? Chael's the best, dude. So I'd like to hear some stories of because you always hear about that. There's these guys that are gym fighters, and there's these dudes who are the best dudes in the world, and they're in the gym. But when they get out there, I heard about. Have you ever trained with Tyson Jeffries? Chael said Tyson Jeffries is like the best dude he's ever seen in the gym.
Yep. Well, I wanted to finish this point. I wanted to make it so some guys next weekend are going to have a huge advantage over the other guys. And those are the guys that understand, okay, this huge distraction's gone. This huge fear of failing is now gone. This is just going to practice and letting it all out. So some guys, and I think most of the guys that compete real well, like at a higher level than their opponent, are going to have that combat in them, which is the wrestlers. The wrestlers should benefit probably more than anybody else from it, is because they have spent more live rounds in practice, because you can wrestle live in practice. You cannot fight live in practice. You cannot spar live in practice. No matter what you say, it's not live. Wrestling is live. So I think it's going to be a huge advantage for some guys, and we're going to be able to watch this over the course of possibly 3 months. Some guys are just going to lay a huge egg. And what I liken this to is, in wrestling, there's challenge matches. Number one guy, anybody that wants to challenge him, challenges him for that spot. And they have a live wrestling match in practice. Sometimes a guy that never beats the other guy in practice will win that challenge match. And it puts the coach at a pretty big disadvantage, because he's now won his spot on the team. You can't take it from him, but everybody knows the best guy is not competing. So that's going to happen. Some guys are going to overperform, and some guys are going to underperform. I think it's going to take a little period of time before you can pinpoint that. But you will see it, and you'll remember this conversation, and you'll be like, oh, I know exactly what he's talking about. Oh, I see that. Oh, he's flat. Or, oh, that dude came out and did a smoke show. When you're talking about the headline of next week, Justin Gaethje and Big Ferg, Tony Ferguson, you're talking about two seasoned combat guys. I don't think it's going to affect either one of those guys. But there will be some fighters on that card that it will affect. We'll just have to see how it plays out. My biggest surprise on this card is that Rose is fighting Andrade. Rose is my favorite female fighter, far and away. I love Rose. Okay, I love her because my mom's name was Rose. I love her because I met her and she was cool. I love her because
I met her.
Yeah, I watched her. Yeah, her and Pat Barry and some other dude came up to the podcast, Chael's podcast. So anyway, I'm very interested that she's fighting. But when you go through that whole card, lad, read that card out.
Top to bottom or bottom to top?
Bottom to top.
Main card, prelims, fight pass, whatever. What do you want me to do?
Bottom to top.
All 12 of them.
Okay.
Read them out.
Okay, the first fight is
And
Ryan.
I'm gonna count how many of those people have been in a main event. Out of the 24 fighters, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say 14 of them have. I don't know that, but I'll do that as he goes through it.
Okay, Ryan Spann versus Sam Alvey. I am going for Spann, even though.
No. Just read them out. Just read them out. We'll circle back. Just read
Okay.
out the card.
Sajara Eubanks versus Sarah Morris. Michael Johnson versus Kama Worthy. That's Fight Pass. Marlon Vera versus Ray Borg. Alexander Hernandez versus Omar Morales. Jacare Souza versus Uriah Hall. Francis Ngannou versus Jorginho Rosenstrike. I believe I pronounced that right.
Wow.
Jeremy Stevens is fighting Calvin Kattar. Vicente Luque is fighting Nico Price. Greg Hardy is fighting Jorgen De Castro. Jessica Andrade is fighting Rose Namajunas. And Big Ferg is fighting Justin Gaethje.
So by my count, there's 13. I might be wrong. So for sure 11 and 13 to 14 have literally been in a main event before. Okay, so that card is stacked. How many people are going to make weight? Or no, how many people are going to miss weight, Scott? Because if anybody's got a fight in 2 weeks, normally, let's just call it they're 20 pounds overweight. Okay. In today's environment where you don't know if you're even going to have a fight, I got to imagine the average guy that shows up in California next week is going to be 25 pounds overweight. How many people are going to miss? Or since it's on a casino, do you just give them, instead of giving them 1 pound, except for the main event, give them 3 pounds, you know?
I'm gonna say 3 or 4 people.
Scott?
I think it's interesting, like to hear you say that, because it almost makes me think they might just say like, look, this is catch weight event. They might do that because you're right. I mean, this is how are even people training, dude? I
You
mean,
can't go to a sauna, and that's the best place to cut weight.
Oh, people are not training. People are exercising. They are not. They aren't. There may be a few people training. Big Ferg's training. He trains. He lives on train. Okay, but Gaethje's been exercising. The rest of them have been exercising. There's a difference between exercising and training.
There's definitely a big difference.
I hope they give them. I hope they do something with that. I'd hate to see. I'd hate to see a bunch of guys miss weight. I'd hate to see a bunch of guys make weight and hurt themselves, because you really got to put your hand. You really got to wrap your arms around every one of these people that are doing this, because the world is locked in fear right now. And I'm glad that the fighters are the ones that are coming out and saying, let's get down. Just like COB. That is Charlie Bizzle. That is Mr. B.
Yeah, you're just speaking gibberish, but I agree with you. Okay.
that was great.
Well, pick it up, man. Grab a hot mic and run, lad. Talk, baby.
Okay. So we got. I'm gonna do my picks now.
All right, do your picks. I'll be right back. Do your picks. We're recording.
Okay. So we got Ryan Spann versus Sam Alvey. I am going for Spann. He knocked out Nogueira, and Alvey lost to Nogueira. Not that MMA math matters. You've heard of both of these guys, Scott?
No, this guy that you're picking, I never even heard of him.
You've heard of Ali, right? He's been a veteran.
Okay. I know who that is.
Yeah. I think Span's going to either decision him or knock him out. I'm going to write down my picks later. Sajara Eubanks versus Sarah Morris. Morris is a veteran, but I think Eubanks has a strength advantage. He's better at grappling, I think, so I'm going for Eubanks. Michael Johnson, unless she misses weight. I never go for guys who miss weight, or girls for that matter. It doesn't matter. Michael Johnson versus Kama Worthy. I'm going for Johnson because he's a veteran. And Worthy's a tough guy, but I think Johnson's going to outwork him, and he definitely has power. Marlon Vera versus Ray Borg, two bantamweight fighters that are light. I am going for Marlon Vera. He's more likely to make weight, and he also has better skills.
Moonshine.
Hey, do you only have one drink? Oh, good for you. Smart. Good move.
What is that,
All right,
Bud? It's not Bud.
Which fighter you at, lad?
I'm at Alexander Hernandez, the guy that got knocked out by Cowboy, versus Omar Morales. I'm going for Hernandez because he's more experienced and beat some tough guys. Jacare Souza, who's one of the greatest submissions artists in the UFC, and Uriah Hall, who's a guy who arguably either performs great or either lays an egg or underperforms. Would you agree?
Here, let's stop that. This is beautiful. Uriah killed everybody on The Ultimate Fighter. You put the crowd in front of him. He's done that. He's either performed or laid an egg. There's a fight to watch right there. There's a guy that may just absolutely smash in an environment like this. And it is odd that more people aren't talking about it. You know, it is very odd because any other sport, football, baseball, you take the crowd out. Basketball, not so much. Basketball, not so much because it's just a different kind of game. But baseball and football, you take the crowds out. It's a different deal. But that's what. So keep going, lad. Sorry, I don't want to jump on your vine.
Okay. Heavyweights. Francis Ngannou versus Yarginho Rozenstruik. Ngannou's looked great his last two fights, and I think that he's going to beat Rozenstruik. I think it's going to be a war. Two guys are going to swing their bones, and I think Ngannou's going to beat him by knockout. Rozenstruik has the cardio advantage, but I think Ngannou has the power advantage slightly. Jeremy Stephens, a guy who's always entertaining. This is the main card. This is the first fight. Jeremy Stephens is fighting.
Hold on. You're saying Rozenstruik and Ngannou are the undercard?
Yes.
Forget about it. Go on.
Jeremy Stephens is fighting Calvin Kattar. I think Kattar's going to win because he's more technical than Stephens. Stephens is just a wild brawler who likes to take guys down or knock them out. I think Calvin Kattar's going to beat him by decision, but Stephens will have his moments. Vicente Luque, who had that war with Brian Barberena, he's really good.
I like the name Brian Barberena. It's like Vinny Barbarino.
Ngannou's this far down on the card?
Yeah, he's the main event of the prelims.
Wow.
Okay. Vicente Luque versus Nico Price, two great fighters. I am going for Luque because he has a win streak, but I mean that's a tough pick. Greg Hardy versus Yorgan De Castro, he should be on Fight Pass because I mean he's really never beat anyone that's a top guy. He fought Volkov, who's a top 10 contender, and went to a decision, but he lost. So the fact that Ngannou and Rozenstruik is the prelims and Greg Hardy's the third to main event, it blows my mind. I think Hardy's going to win by decision, but Castro might knock him out, which I would love. I don't really like Hardy too much. Jessica,
They ain't putting Hardy with Ngannou, are they, lad?
yeah, I mean, if Hardy wins and they put him in with the Wolves, if they feed him, Rosen, Striking, and Ngannou would both crumple him. They would both knock him out. Jessica Andrade versus Rose Namajunas. They actually fought before. It was really interesting. They fought. It was actually Rose's last fight. So Rose was dominating Andrade. I mean, you could not pick like Chael was dominating Anderson Silva the first fight. So she was all over her. She knocked her down. She basically just outclassed her, made her look like an amateur. And then Andrade in the second round lifted her as she was going for an armbar, as Rose was going for an armbar, and slammed her head down. And, I mean, it was a good fight. I mean, we were both kind of upset that Rose lost, but I think Rose might outclass her again and possibly pull it off. And whoever wins this fight gets to fight Weili Zhang for the title, who just came off a war with Joanna Jędrzejczyk that people are playing over and over. We got Tony Ferguson versus Justin Gaethje, who is the main event. Khabib couldn't make it. Gaethje will for sure have his moments. He will have his moments. He will have his moments where he will stun Gaethje or try to take him down. And I would give the edge on the ground to Ferguson, and I would give the edge of power to Gaethje, but I would give the edge of cardio, which is end up going to win Ferguson this fight, to Ferguson. So I think in the fourth or fifth round, he will take over and either stop him or he will win a unanimous decision.
All right, awesome stuff there, lad. All right, Scotty, let me throw a couple things at you. All right, it's so easy to hate Greg Hardy, right? I mean, he does. First, he comes in with the background of beating up his old lady. All right, he's not a very charismatic, gracious guy. He makes mistake after mistake after mistake, but the people that train with him, the people that work with him, the people that know him, all say the same thing. Man, this guy's doing all the things right. This guy is poured in. At some point, do we give him a pass? Do we say, you know what? This is a hell of an athlete. This guy is moved up to the UFC, and he isn't fighting top guys, but he's fighting in the UFC. He's fought some bums, but he did look good against Volkov. He looked like a professional fighter. Volkov's the real guy. At some point, do we give the guy a pass, or do we just root for him to get smashed forever?
Okay, say what a pass is. Like what is a pass? What does that mean? And I'll give what's going on in my head while you're talking. So Greg Hardy, exactly what you just said. My perfect example of a similar guy is Matt Mitrione. Matt Mitrione to me is a Greg Hardy. I never liked Matt Mitrione.
Really?
I never liked him. I always thought he kind of had a freaking, just a weird personality. He's kind of a freaking, he's a little bit arrogant, because he's physically kind of a specimen. He's a ex-football player, whatever. I don't know if you guys are, I know it didn't go well with Chael, but I don't know if you guys are Fedor fans. I don't think Joel is a Fedor fan. I've always been a huge Fedor fan. And
I like Fedor.
I like Fedor too. I never disliked Fedor.
The one of the fights I hate more than anything in the world is when Fedor fought Matt Mitrione. And he freaking...
They both knocked each other out, and then Mitrione woke up, and that was the same night Chael fought Vanderlei, and Tito was like, "Ha ha, you got cleared! Ha ha!"
And this is where I will say he doesn't get the pass, is because Matt Mitrione, he earned his pass really that night when he knocked out Fedor, but I didn't give it to him. I was like, I don't like him. I still don't like him. I think he sucks. I think he's a freaking lame. I don't think he should have lost. I don't think he should have beat Fedor. He's a freaking fluke. And you know what I mean? He got his ass beat by Ryan Bader. He got knocked out by Sergey Karatonov, and he sucks.
All right, so Matt Mitrione's a top 15, top 20 fighter in the world.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. Excellent talent. He's a meatball. You don't like him. I think that's a really good comparison. I think that Hardy's ceiling is probably there to anywhere from 10 to 15. You know, he might the way they're carrying him, you know, he might get a Derek Lewis fight. He might get and Derek Lewis will kill him.
He would kill him. He would. It would be a murder job like he murdered that boxer who tried to fight.
Another guy's Brendan Schaub, right? Brendan Schaub, same thing. Brendan knocked out Crow Cop, and it was kind of it's like those guys, they have such a freak athleticism.
Well, I mean, you could only imagine how much juice Brendan Schaub was on when he knocked Crow Cop.
Brendan Schaub.
Okay.
Yeah, lads correcting the morons over here.
Brendan Schaub.
All right.
So kids how to read.
I'm not a fan of that guy. I'm not a fan.
So Hardy doesn't get a pass. All right. So what about Rose versus Andrade? That was a 10-8 round. Number one was 10-8. Could have been 10-7. Round two was looking like a 10-8 round. She gets picked up and knocked out and dropped on her head. How much is Rose going to have to overcome the fear of that? And does Andrade lose her advantage because she just got waylaid by how do you say her name? Weili Zhang. Okay. Does she lose?
Rose ain't afraid. I don't think Rose is afraid at all. I don't. I think Rose will come in there. She'll do her thing. I think she was struggling with where do I go from here type of stuff. You know, like I reached the top. I was the champion. And she kind of lost her, her fire or whatever. You know what I mean? Okay, I got to put this out there, right? Because we just crossed on this bridge. I always felt that way about Chael. I always felt like Chael, he almost wanted to always be climbing the mountain. You know what I mean? Like some part of him inside didn't want to be the champ, or he didn't want to reach his goal because he always wanted to be climbing the mountain. You know what I mean? And I feel like Rose, she reached the top of the mountain and it was like, I'm the person that's climbing the mountain. I'm the underdog. You know what I mean? Like people get into that mindset and they don't want to be the freaking on top of the mountain because that's not who they are. That's not their motivation or their drive or how they've identified themselves. And I think that's Rose.
I don't really necessarily agree with the Chael thing because, I mean, look at the first fight against Sanderson. It looked like he freaking wanted to be a champion to me. But
why did he lose?
I mean, let's get off of Chael there. Okay, I like what you're saying there, but that's a lot of hindsight's 2020 because the reality is Rose probably up until getting dropped on her head looked like the greatest female fighter in the history of ever that night. So coming backwards, I think she said those things and you're 100% right. But in the moment, she didn't lay an egg. That was a one-off. So, I'm most interested. I'm probably as interested in this fight as I am Gaethje Ferguson. We're rooting for Rose, and then staying on Rose. Let's say Rose comes out. It's the same Rose that was in the first 8 minutes of that fight. She wins. She either stops him or 5 rounds. How does Rose fare with Weili Zhang? How does Rose fare? Can Rose take those shots that JJ took? I mean, she made. First off, I think JJ won that fight. Second off, man, has anybody taken a beating like that ever, man or woman?
Well, I've never seen man or woman. Like, the only close thing I can come up with is Jose Aldo, Mark Hominick. Do you remember that fight?
Yeah.
Big old freaking lump on the head. Is that that?
Yes. That's the only fight I can recall to where it was even close to that of Joanna's. Like, she.
Well, that was more of a. But that was more of a. I mean, she got her bubble, but she got. I mean, she got. She took a beating. I just think it would be good if you admitted that you dyed your hair.
No, I didn't. It's gray, man. It's gray, bro. You just can't see it in the lighting.
Not your beard. Your head.
I can see it a little bit. You're turning into Santa Claus slowly.
Your head. Your head.
Your head's not gray at all.
Your head has been dyed.
No, I'm not gay. I'm not a homosexual.
I'm talking about your gray hair.
Okay. Chael let Anderson beat him. He let him beat him.
All right, I'm not saying I'm not on
that. I'm not even gonna argue about this.
Yeah, I'm not on that. So okay, so let's get to the main event. I think that Justin's got about 7 minutes to knock him out, and if he doesn't knock him out in 7 minutes, it's going to be a beating.
He's dead. I don't know. I've never seen Justin Gaethje fight once.
What?
I've never watched this guy fight yet. Never.
Oh, wow. All right, so Lad, since he can't talk on it, hey, Lad, what do you think? I know you already told us, but you agree that he can knock him out?
He can knock him out within a space of the first 2 rounds. And then right about the halfway point of either the second or the third round, Tony will start to take over.
Yeah, and man, I think Tony's gonna be through the roof on this thing because Tony's on a different level than everybody else in the world. I would love to see him win this fight. I would love to see him fight Conor in like 2 months and then fight Khabib.
Sorry.
I want to see him fight Conor on Pandemic Island.
Okay, I'm gonna call that fight, and I think Conor smokes him. That's my opinion. I think Conor knocks him into tomorrow, dude.
Who, Big Ferg?
Oh yeah, ends him.
Wow,
smokes him.
Are you? Wow, really?
You want to know my logic? You want to hear why I say that?
Sure.
Ferg always gets hit, man.
Boy, does he ever. Does he ever.
And guess what? Conor McGregor, when he hits people, they're done, bro. Like, Conor McGregor smokes fools. And he smokes fools that don't even get hit. He smokes them.
He might knock Tony down with just his shoulder.
He ain't knocking Tony down with his shoulder, but
I think that's my opinion. And
all right, then I don't think I think you've got a lot of legitimacy to what you're saying there. I would love Big Ferg to win this fight, beat Khabib, and then fight Conor. If I just a Big Ferg mark, he's just so crazy that it's just like, man, if they actually fought to the death, I don't think there'd be many people that could beat Big Ferg.
Yeah.
At any weight.
Yeah, for sure. You could put Thero in there and he would not, because
There's 2 people that Joel the Godfather has marked out for. Randy Couture and Ferg, dude. Those are the 2 guys that I've never seen Joel just like back somebody like he loves Ferg. Like, I used to text Joel, I'd be like, Ferg's gonna lose, and he's like, you better be careful, man. He's gonna freaking come to you in the middle of the night.
Dude, Ferg he will. He is L. What's he said? What is the L? The boogeyman.
Back Chael like that?
No, man. I was so scared Chael was gonna get murdered every time he ever fought. But Chael would. You're right. Chael would dominate in this format. Oh my goodness, he beat John Jones. You know, in a practice room, in a practice room fight.
You
right.
think he's that good? He'd beat John Jones in a practice fight.
When he was at his prime. I mean, he's been burnt toast for quite some time. He was probably burnt crispy, crisp, all the way done where it's just burnt. Well before Bellator.
When he fought Rashad?
Yeah, Rashad and even, Shogun. I mean, I think his last hurrah was the second Anderson fight, and from then, because you can only climb that mountain so many times. You can only put those kind of training sessions in.
Chael even said after the John Jones fight, I think this was my last opportunity to fight for the title.
Yeah. But anyway, all right, what else do we got?
Randy Couture versus Stipe Miocic, both in their primes. I just feel like I want to know what you guys think about that. Because I feel like Randy would whoop up on Ngannou. He would, dude.
Randy would beat Ngannou. He'd take him down and pound him. It wouldn't even be
it would be like Stipe and Ngannou.
Isn't that awesome? Like, that's ridiculous. Like, Ngannou is so scary, but Randy would just handle him. He definitely would. I agree. I mean, he would freaking he's such a strategic.
Okay, listen. I think Randy wins that fight. Let me ask you a better one. Let me ask you a better one. Randy DC.
Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
That's a hard one, man, because DC's kind of got a little more athleticism, but I don't think his wrestling would I don't think Randy would give a fuck about it, personally. I don't know. You guys know more than me about that.
Well, DC's a two-time freestyle Olympian. Randy was never made the Olympic team in Greco. The thinking is the freestyle wrestler is a better wrestler than Greco. I would concede to that. Now Randy, was next level in the clinch. Man, that would be the fight. That would be the fight to talk about. That would be the fight. The Stipe fight. Randy takes him down and controls him. He's just so much of a better wrestler.
You don't think Stipe will have his moments on the feet even?
No, God, no. He'd run him through the fence over and over and over again. Because Stipe doesn't Stipe come in about 235?
Yeah.
Randy be 228, 225 like a bull. No, Randy wins that. I think the one that I couldn't call would be the DC. DC and DC's not at his prime right now. He's past it. And DC started late too, but that would be the one I would be more interested in. DC versus Randy.
I just feel like there's no way, because DC's thing is he freaking grabs dudes and throws them over his head. You ain't gonna do that to Randy Couture, man. There's no way. There's no. Yeah. Imagine Randy Couture getting thrown in the air. It's like, no.
It's like Hercules getting thrown in the air.
Huh?
It's like Hercules getting thrown over the air.
It ain't happening, man. I cannot even imagine it. I can't even imagine it. Like, I just don't think it's possible. It's like, who the fuck is gonna do that?
He lifted John Jones over his head.
And, I mean, he did it to Hendo, but Hendo's just way smaller, and
he was past his prime then. He was like 44 or something.
Yeah, I'd like to know. That would be one that would interest me. And at heavyweight, not at 205. DC competes better at heavyweight. he just does. All right. What? Let's talk about some. Let's talk about. When does life get back to where we're not thinking about dying every day? We're just thinking about how we're going to pay our bills.
I definitely don't think about dying every day.
Never. We're going to be. This is the last generation to ever live before COVID-19. That's what this is, dude. I'm telling you. I think this is a history. This is going to be in the history books, and the whole entire future has changed from this day forward. I really do believe that. I think it's totally. This is a completely different. Lad's life is not going to be like your life, not at all.
I would love to see us shut down our borders.
It's already happening.
If you came into the United States, you need a 14-day quarantine. From here on out, moving forward. If you want to go to another country, you do that too, because we can't. This can't happen again. This cannot happen again.
No, this can't.
Well, from what I understand, so from I heard you on the on your live video, you were talking about COVID, and from what I understand, this thing you don't show a lot of symptoms when you have it, and you're contagious for like a month. And if it's on a desk, if it's on a table, if it's on the wall, it could live there for like a week. So you can't get rid of this thing. You're contagious, you're not showing symptoms, but you got it. And everyone's going to get it. Everybody is going to get
like the flu. Everybody gets the flu.
Yeah. Yeah. And so this isn't going away. This is just slowing it down so the hospitals don't get overwhelmed. That's what we're doing.
We'll get to. Well, it does get weaker. The virus does get weaker. The more people that recover from it, that weakens it. I mean, there is a leveling off thing for this thing. I just think that there's something that could be really good out of this thing. But I don't see that.
There's so much.
I don't see it from the things that I see online. I see this, and this. But when I'm out in public, I do see good humanity. I do see people caring for each other.
Well, I'll say this. I know I'm busy. I've been busy, man. I've been trying to do stuff as much as I can. Lad's been trying to call me. I haven't been able to get on the phone with you. I apologize. I've been busy, man. I've been doing home projects. I got a job. I freaking have been doing virtual classes. I've been podcasting, but even as busy as I've been, I've done more. We've gotten to interact like this more in this short period of time than we ever got to. And I'm so grateful, man. I'm so grateful. This is so cool to me that we're doing this. It's the best, dude. This is the best thing ever. And it's the best time. It's the best opportunity. And, I'll never forget this. I
tell you, if it wasn't for me not being able to be with Lad, I think we would be having a good time. We would literally be having a good time because we would be training every day, in being with each other. So hopefully soon this cough will go away. But I like what you say there. I agree that too. For me, it's like when you take away the fear, side of this thing, and Lad, I'm glad that the fear hasn't really entered you on this. Plus, you're very, very small chance of getting hurt by this illness. But I do glad your fear level is pretty low and you're doing everything right. But I will say that first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is patterns are, okay, what do I have to do? Like, what do I have to do today? Do I have to work today? Do I have to work out today? Something in my whole life. And then if I didn't have anything going on, I would then immediately feel guilty. Like, oh man, I'm a loser. I don't have anything going on. Because we are literally supposed to do nothing. When that comes to me in the morning, I immediately am relieved. I'm like, oh my God, I don't have nothing to do. Doing nothing is what I'm supposed to do. You know?
You are right about that.
Yeah.
You are right.
What did Lad say earlier, man? I love that, dude. It's so funny because
I said I'm talking gibberish.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what it was. It's so funny how Lad is sometimes. One time I was telling Lad, I was like, Lad, man, I was on my worst time of my life. I was like, I freaking got my ass kicked in this fight. I broke my leg. I didn't have a job. I didn't have no money. I mean, I'm like sad. I'm having sad times, right? I'm telling Lad this. I'm like, in a podcast, I'm like, dude, this was the worst, man. Like, I'm broke. My face is all beat up. My leg's broken. I don't have a job. I don't have money. I'm just like, what am I going to do? And Lad goes like this. He goes, well, that kind of sort of thing happens to fighters. So anyway, about UFC 215.
Yeah, that's Lad. That's
like,
Lad. That's just like his dad too. He wasn't caught up. He wasn't caught up in that program. He was trying to get his show off. Man, I tell you, man, I'm glad that we did this. I tell you that video I watched earlier just got me freaked out. Like, oh my God, I've been laying.
I've been news free. I have not watched a single morsel of news in 2 weeks.
Good job, Lad. Smart. That's the best.
Whenever monsters on the news, I turn away and eat my meal. That's what I do.
Wow.
All right, and I hope we get some good weather, Lad. I'm gonna go buy some new baseballs and a bat for you so you can smoosh.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Those balls that we used last time were not really that good.
No, they suck. Well, and you got two bats they're not even real bats.
I'll bring my real bat next time.
No, I'm gonna get you a new one. So you can smash. All right, Scotty, I love you. I'm done for the night, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Love you both.
All right.
Love you guys too.
Talk to you later.
Later.
The underground sound in a city or a town, the frown. The business of a crown, of the living that abounds, of the church and the announcements. It's doing what counts. The underground sound in a city or a town, the frown. The business of a crown, of the living that abounds, of the church and the announcements. It's doing what counts. The underground sound is the voice within, to give ear to the spirit and to flee from sin, to live for Jesus in the praise of Him, by not selling out for the praise of men, to do whatever it takes, no matter what the cost, to keep pushing up the weight, carrying the cross, straight bench pressing sin, defend the word that lacks, and your best mention Him, or then you're gon' die. Cause the underground sound in a city or a town, the business of a crown.